Hello everyone, and I'm glad. My name is Zhan, faculty member of computer science, also affiliated with NIPS and about personalized medicine. So today, I will talk about my main research on big data and network science. So big data and how much data we're processing, give some examples this stage. And this data was given by 2010, so it's already 5 years. And back in 2010, Google processed almost 20 TB per day, and Facebook and 2.5 TBs and 15 TBs per day. eBay 61 TBs and 50 TB per day. Then the nuclear and European nuclear and Zhan large cylinders generates 15 TBs. You can see it's a lot of data. But back to old days, and we probably did a certain kilobyte, okay? So 640 and K byte data for us may be big enough. So then I teach a class for big data analytics, and student asked me, what is big data? Well, big data, and I defined, the big data is, and when the data size or the volume and its dynamics become a noise for you, and noise for you, then that's a big data for you, okay? So it's a really good concept. So we define the big data and from typically 3 ways, and basically volume and velocity and variety. Basic corresponding to the terms is volumes, then complexity and speed. Okay? There's other terms and associated big data, but this is the major 3 that we're talking about in big data area. After that, I'd like to mention, because of limited time, I will mention some of the funded projects in the last 3 years. And one is called the Future State Behavior Prediction, and that's funded by the Department of Homeland Security. And what they want to do is they have a lot of data collected in the national networks and to analyze about behaviors, potentially malicious behavior in database, and for national and security protection. So try to understand and improve the performance analysis, then develop and potentially tools that support the decision making for the Department of Homeland Security. And this is the overall approach that's talking about. You can see the different stakeholders involved, and data liveness levels, narrative processing, and flows, and mathematical models, the cognitive processing, and so on. And this is a big group and involved in this project because it's totally was 65 million and for 5 years. So we are focused, we're the lead for data readiness level. So what is the data readiness level? This is a new concept. We were starting doing this research back to 2013. It's a new concept. Nobody and doing this research before and in the publications. So we defined as DRL is a formalism used to optimize a workflow process that involving an objective, then a set of data, then a set of analytics. And we made some publications after the initial draft that's research we done. Let's give an example talking about what it means by and data readiness level. Let's assume we have objective example here is a person breathing in the macro view. Well, the answer could be yes, no, and severe, very little, and other potential answers. Then during the process, we can calculate local and readiness overall the system to answer certain particular objective or questions we call global readiness level. Okay? So within this, that means how ready the data to answer objective functions that we're talking about. And over this, we have a local readiness. That's in each stage we have local readiness. How ready the data to move to the next stage, and through the process of the whole objective that we're talking about. Let's leave this. So this research, we developed a framework, and we have been published in 2014 Big Data Conference at Stanford. And we separate the data level computation to the different processes of data collection and computation and intelligence generation. And so for each part, we calculate the local and DRLs. Then we combine them into a global DRL computation to answer the objective overall for the systems. So that is a project and data level funded by the Department of Homeland Security. Another one I want to mention is briefly mentioned community detection large networks funded by Department of Defense Army Research Office. So they already developed systems that deal with the very large networks That large network can apply to biology networks and travel network, transportation networks, and social networks, and so on. There, we have the called structure functional analytics functionality provided here is a modeling process. Then there we involve the different aspects from the human and the behavior and all other different aspects. Then we develop a algorithm, this process. Then simultaneously, this is the result of database will be reflected the visualization process. And once we have a new effects that we want to incorporate in the systems, will be reflected in the data set as well. Okay. So next one I want to mention is the important project for a big data program at the National Science Foundation in United States. So it's called Data Bridge. And this project, I mentioned this particularly because this is the first 8 proposals funded by big data program in US. So it's a very important project, and only 8 proposals at that time was funded. So this project was a collaboration between Harvard University and Boston and UNC, it's Chapel Hill, then UNLV. So the objective is trying to shine a light from the dark data. Basically, as a big data age we're talking about, there's a lot of dark data involved. Okay? So a lot of information is hidden within the big data. We don't know what happened. We try to identify. Especially in here, we're talking about big data, but where big data come from? Big data is coming from accumulation of smaller data sets, right? For example, we generate from the phones and the social network, daily generation of PBs and those kind of stuff. But the big data is actually accumulation from all different users and generation of data. So long-tail data is small sets produced by numerous investigators or stakeholders. Many long-tail data are dark data, and many information are hidden there that we think is very valuable to the researcher to identify the information out of there. So motivated problem, and for this one is numerous, among it, autonomous, and connected dark data. So Data Bridge is trying to shine a light on the dark data. It's trying to link all different long-tail data and from different sources, then trying to get the intelligence out of them. So particularly for one of the goals we have is trying to assist the scientists in this current interest data set by automatically forming community of data. So this originally was utilized quite a bit for social networks. Now I'm familiar with the names, and so we have a biology network, DNA network, healthcare networks. We're trying to help researchers here and in the biometric domain to find the interest, the data set, or interest, the questions or patterns from the biometric domain data. And this is the overall design of the project. And this year is actually final year of the project. And we pretty much finished the prototype and by 2 universities. Right now it's in the testing stage. So this is a data set that's from the different sources. This one, DVN, is contributed from Harvard University. And that also can contribute from other data sources. This is only examples. Now we come here, it's called data metadata area and extractor. We have metadata ontology base. Then after that, we have relative engine and building networks. This is the focus of UNLV. Then after that, we build a layered networks, and eventually we have visualization. Okay? And so next project I want to mention briefly is talking about, it's a new project that's funded this week. And it's coming from Department of Energy Open National Lab. It's called Neutral Image and Big Data Analytics. So basically, Open National Lab at Department of Energy, they have a world's largest, the best technology for neutron spallation and technology. So a lot of organizations from worldwide and go to there to do the experiment. Basically, for example, I have my certain materials, I go there, they can use the neutron spallation technologies trying to get all the detail of the materials, the images, and to the database. Now, unfortunately, they don't have a facility right now to analyze the data and efficiently and also almost real time. And plus, they generate data so efficient, so quick, the speed of neutron spallation is so quick. And so they find us. So they make a collaboration and trying to let us to work with them to develop a system for big data analytics, especially for neutron image analytics. So finally, I would mention a project funded by National Science Foundation. It's called Big Data Hub. It's National Big Data Hub. And so even NRV is associated with 3 National Big Data Hub, totally have 4. And one's leading by Columbia University in New York, and the other one is Georgia Tech UC. The other one leading by Berkeley, UC San Diego, and the New York University. But UNLV is part of this. So that's all my talk. Thank you very much.
He's ahead of schedule. Wonderful. Any questions?
I'll be having poster sessions with my students. I'm happy to address any questions or finish our discussion that you have. Thank you.